What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story. Today we have another high school story of something just crazy happening on the school bus. I don't know about you guys, but I always had like very chill school bus experiences, but I swear all you guys keep sending me stories of the most craziest stuff happening, and this is the same as that. So you'll definitely enjoy it. So sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing, and let's just jump right into it. Yeah, so anyways, this all happened when the subscriber was in 7th grade, and we're going to call the subscriber, what are we going to call him? We're going to call him Bob, because of King Bob from Minions. Anyways, right, so Bob, subscriber, he's in 7th grade, and every single day on the bus, Bob would try and snag the seat that he liked the best, which was the seat right in the back. Bob could just put in his headphones, just zone out basically, and have a decent time while, they drove to school. But ever since this couple got together, these two guys, like this guy and a girl, they started dating like a month in, and before they started dating, Bob had literally no issues getting that spot in the back of the bus until one day he came in, the day after they started dating, right? And they took his spot. Bob wasn't a very confrontational person. Also, these were 8th graders and he was a 7th grader. So of course he's not going to say anything, right? That'd be pretty risky. And so Bob's just like, all right, fine, whatever. And he always sat like one seat behind them, or one seat ahead of them, I should say. And let me just say that this couple was very much, determined to let everyone know how affectionate they were for each other. Yeah, so basically they'd just be like making out the entire time in the back of the bus. It was gross. Stop with the PDA. Like, yeah, you're allowed to have, like, be affectionate with your partner. Bro, just do that somewhere else, man. Like, is it really that hard to wait till you get back home? Anyways, right? You know what? Anyways. So, yeah, sure enough, Bob every single day would be walking, trying to get his seat. But no, the couple who got on, like, a stop earlier would always be back there. They'd be doing whatever gross couple stuff that they were doing. So Bob would just sit down, put in his headphones, crank it up above the safe volume just because he didn't want to hear any of that nonsense, and just ride his way to school. However, this was okay for a while, right? Bob could deal with this. However, at one point, one day, this story really all starts one day. Bob gets on the bus, he checks, he looks in the back. Sure enough, they're not even really taking his spot anymore because it had been like a month since he'd been able to sit back there. They were really just taking their spot, right? That kind of has morphed into their spot at this point. So Bob is kind of conceited. He's like, all right, dude, whatever. He sits back where he normally sits, and he's about to put in his headphones, right? The thing is, right, he isn't really even looking in the back spot. I think he glanced back there and he saw like the outline of a person. He saw a little bit of someone. Normally, they're both sitting up normally, which will make a lot more sense in a second. But anyways, Bob's like, all right, man, like whatever, someone's sitting there. So he sits down and he's about to put in his headphones, right? About to take out like the earbuds with the wires or whatever and put them in and turn up his Juice WRLD to like 110% volume just to blast out whatever nonsense noise is coming from them. But that's when all of a sudden, he starts to hear something that just doesn't sound like what it normally was. He starts to hear like, how do we put this, right? I'm just gonna be blunt. They were going at it in the back seat, bro. I'm not even messing with you. I don't know about you guys, but in my high school, or my middle school, I should say, like the craziest thing someone could do would be like make out in the back, like the back stairs alley, or like the back hallway, whatever, like the back stairs, whatever, the stairwell in the back. If you like one time, like in my high school, like I think I made a story about this once. I might retell it later on if you guys want to hear my own personal stories, which I know a lot of you guys do. I once walked in on someone in the back stairwell. That's what it is. I was trying to get that back stairwell. And it was a really awkward experience, and especially for me being in 7th grade, it was one of the most awkward experiences. But anyways, right? So yeah, that was like the craziest thing that could happen in my middle school. But I guess in 8th grade, kids were just going at it. Hey, man, I don't know. I guess every high school is different. But yeah, when Bob kind of realized what was going on, bro was just not having it. So Bob got up and he because there was like a lot of seats. There was like, the bus was always pretty full. However, the back section was relatively empty, except the one spot, the best seat in the way back, was always taken by them. So Bob, instead of sitting where he normally sat, which was basically just one seat ahead of them, he basically just stood up, walked 3 seats forward, and sat down. He put his earbuds back in, cranked it up to max volume. I know you're not supposed to be doing that, but bro, I don't blame Bob. No one wants to be hearing that, man. I mean, no one wants to be hearing you making out with someone. Like like a little PSA, like a little public service announcement for the couples out there. Can you stop sucking each other's faces off in front of everyone? Like, just do us all a favor and just keep it to the bedroom, bro. Get a room. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be mean about it. That's just all I'm trying to say. But especially if you're going above and beyond and doing something ridiculous, right? So something like that, which in my opinion, that's pretty ridiculous. So, Bob's sitting like where he's sitting, his volume is up, and that's when he sees someone, like he kind of like feels in like, or he sees in the peripheral of his vision, right? He sees like a figure standing, and he looks up, and sure enough, the guy who is the guy from like the couple who always sat back there was standing up right next to him. Because at this point, the bus had not moved. It was still waiting for more people to get on. And so he was like standing up right next to him. And, Bob looks up and he takes out his earbud. He's like, what's good? Because obviously this kid was waiting for him to like take out his earbud because he was just staring right at him deep into his soul. And, this kid's like, hey, man, like, we know that like, what's going on back there. Like, we saw you like get up and move. Better not be telling anyone. And Bob's just like, bro, why would I want to tell anyone about this? I'm honestly trying to erase this from my memory right now, if I'm being honest. And the kid's like, all right, good. Well, if we hear otherwise, there's going to be trouble. Bob's like, there's not going to be trouble because you're not going to hear otherwise, man. Trust me on this one. So yeah, Bob goes back. They go back to it. Not a great time. So Bob is pretty upset at this point because he's like, this is not going to be my everyday. Next day, gets on the bus. Once again, the two are in the back of the bus, and Bob, he doesn't even take any chances. He sits as close to the front as possible. However, most of the seats are filled up by the time that Bob gets to like the bus. Normally, though, no one really sat in the back, so Bob was still forced to sit pretty far in the back. However, he's trying to sit as far away from them as possible. However, this bus ride was different, because this time, the bus driver caught them. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment bus down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. If you want to support the channel, the best thing you can do is just put on my like old videos or just watch my old videos while you're doing something after this one. A really easy way to do that is my storytime playlist. It is the pinned link in the pinned comment. Dude, I can't speak today. I got 1,000 things on my mind. Anyways, though, right? So at this time, this bus trip was a little bit different. Because once again, Bob gets on the bus. He kind of has a sense that like he doesn't want to go back there. He actually doesn't want to go back there even with like a radiation gas mask and a 10-foot pole. He's just trying to stay away as far as possible. So he sits down, puts in his earbuds, and that's when he notices like a noise, a muffled noise. Remember, he's got the music on really loud, so he can't really hear that much. However, these aren't noise canceling. These are just like the old school Apple earbuds or whatever. I used to have a pair. They were sick. It worked with the iPod, bro. It worked really well. But yeah, anyways, he kind of hears like a muffled screaming or whatever. He's like, oh my God. For a second, Bob was like, no way that these kids behind me have no self-awareness. Like I knew that they had no self-awareness, but this is a whole new level. So Bob takes out his earbuds, getting ready to kind of be mad at them. But at that point, he realizes the screaming is coming from the front of the bus. So anyways, he looks up and he sees the angry 60-year-old bus driver with his hat on and is like, he's kind of got that like trucker drive vibe or whatever. He's kind of got that outfit. This guy had a big old scruffy beard and he did not look like a guy you wanted to mess with. And like at this point, Bob was just watching as this bus driver was just pummeling down the front of like, it was just coming full force down the front aisle or whatever, just powering towards him. And, at this point, Bob's like, oh, word, like, okay, something's definitely going on. And, like, he takes out his earbuds, and he hears the bus driver screaming, now more clearly, because before it was muffled by his music, like, you two are disgusting, on my bus, like, this is my baby, how dare you mess it up like this? And Bob could, like, he kind of, like, turned around, he just saw scrambling in the backseat. He just saw pure scrambling and panic and dread, just all those emotions, right? The bus driver gets back there, after, like, the couple in the back or whatever kind of put all their clothes, they're fully dressed at this point, right? He kind of scoops them up by, like, their scruffy hoodies or whatever, and legitimately is, like, dragging them down, like, the front aisle of the bus. He isn't, like, literally dragging them because they are walking, but he's, like, pulling them quickly and tightly. Like, if one of them tripped, they would have been dragged out, right? So he brings them to the end of the bus, and he says, like, get out here. And like at this point, Bob and everyone else is like super quiet because they're listening to what's going on. Bob hears one of them say, hey man, like, the school's like a 20-minute walk from here. Can you just drop us off there? And he's like, The bus driver legit doesn't say anything. He gets back into his seat, closes the bus door, and they drive off. So yeah, Bob is like actually kind of hyped because like he doesn't want anything necessarily bad to happen to these kids. Sure, they're being idiots and they're definitely being inconsiderate doing what they're doing in front of everyone, right? But at this point, Bob's like, low-key, bro, deserved it. Yeah. So Bob, actually just, he stays where he's sitting, but he's got a feeling that, these kids will not be returning on the bus. But anyways, when Bob is dropped off at school, he doesn't think much of it until he's walking down the hallway about I don't know, halfway through school. And that's when he sees the couple. And the couple lock eye contact with him and shift the direction that they're walking so that they'll now intercept him. So at this point, Bob's like, okay. And they go up to him and they kind of they stop him. They basically stand in front of him and block his path. And Bob kind of looks at them with this look of what's up? And the guy's like, dude, I told you there'd be problems if you told on us. And Bob looks at them with this kind of confused look. And he's like, dude, I know you told the bus driver. I know you tipped him off. And Bob's like, man, I could hear you guys with my volume turned up to 100%. I'm not supposed to be doing that. And I can hear you guys. And they're kind of just no, you definitely told him. At this point, right, I think the girl knew that they were just that they got each other in trouble. I think the guy knew it too, but he was trying to save face in front of her. He's like, this isn't the end of it. You're gonna have to pay for what you did, bro. And Bob's like, dude, it's no disrespect, but it's so obvious what you guys were doing. I didn't do it. You really think that I told the bus driver and he waited till he was driving? He waited till he was in the process of driving to stop his car and turn around? And the guy's like, well, and Bob had a good point. If he told the bus driver would have just went back there and dealt with it before he started driving, not waited 5 minutes to drive and then stop and turn around and kick them off. That would have made no sense. It would have made a lot more sense for him to deal with it as soon as he knew. So at this point, right, the guy kind of realizes, oh, well, maybe it wasn't Bob. But he's like, dude, you better not be messing with me right now. If I hear that you told anyone about this, you're dead, bro. And the two of them walk off. And yeah, they were not allowed back in the bus for very obvious reasons. I think they got some in-school punishments as well, but not that, they didn't get expelled or anything. But yeah, Bob was able to go back to the spot, his OG spot in the back of the bus, and everything in the universe was right again. You'll love to see it. Subscribe if you're new, leave a like to help the channel, and also watch another video as it will help out a lot. Thank you guys so much. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.